The Newsround on Off the Ball.
With Gillette Labs. Get the ultimate shave or your money back. Neon Night Edition available now.
This is News Talk.
You're welcome along. Tuesday evenings Off the Ball coming at you. So at the foot of Division 1, and perhaps more worryingly, a crisis in their academy system. Carl Lacey's walked away as head of the academy. 40 odd coaches have followed him. We will ask Brendan Devaney just what's going on in Donegal football at the moment. That's at 7:30. Justin Campbell, if you are a Galway hurling fan, particularly of the 90s, he was once upon a time Galway hurler and now working as an addiction counsellor, has a very interesting story to tell. He will tell it to us after 8 o'clock. And of course, it's Champions League evening. Chelsea Dortmund on the menu. It will do well to surpass Shamrock Rovers 4, Cork City 4 last night. Dan McDonnell is here in studio for the evening. 53106 is the text number. At Off the Ball on Twitter. Richie is with us. Evening. Hello.
Well, Joe.
Dan McDonnell, of course, had his pick of games in the Dublin area to go to, and Shamrock Rovers 4, Cork City 4 was playing out not before his eyes.
No, well, I obviously fancied some vinyl, so I went to Dalymount Park for the evening, some culture. Yeah. So that's what I decided to go for that. And being truthful, I also probably was of the belief that Shamrock Rovers might win that game comfortably, and I'd been there on Friday. So obviously myself and colleagues try and rotate a bit. I was in Tala on Friday for Shamrock Rovers Derry, which was an excellent game, like really good, like potentially the top two this year, more than likely the top two, and served up a really high quality game of football on a good pitch in a good stadium. Who'd have thought that this could actually work as a concept? If you have a good stadium
nice.
in a good surface, all of these things, good teams like to play football. Amazingly, it's a good product. And that was excellent.
It's nice to see struggling teams with facilities like that, though.
See, Richie's on pure smug mode here. Pure smug mode this evening.
Sorry, 5 days a week.
Sorry, I want to make it more specific. Richie's on a particular smug setting. He's on a Bose smug setting as opposed to the default version. But no, I did want to go and see Bose in Dalymount. Hadn't been for a while there. And that was actually a very good game too. I mean, I know I'm sometimes trying to rein Johnny in when he's sort of the league's in a great shape, and I'm thinking just hang on there. There's still a lot to fix and a lot wrong with it. But I have to say, the 2 games I've been to in the last 4 days have been great. Whatever, Tala, 7,500 people there on Friday. Bowes last night. Monday night games are generally just a real sense of we're cramming these into the fixture list. There's no energy around them. It's like Monday in general, sort of a Monday blues vibe around them. Dalymount last night. Okay, I don't think the away section was sold out, but all the home seats were gone.
It's the new Friday.
Well, Monday's the new Friday, but it's Friday every night in Dalymount. And just that, just chatting to people afterwards, they're just sort of going, over 4,000 people there on a Monday night, and maybe to some people that doesn't sound significant, but you think of league football in this country, probably more so than any other code, the regularity that it asks people to go, is definitely one of the things. You've got, a 36 game season, 18 home games, but throw in cups and other stuff as well. And naturally there's a drop off, particularly Monday night fixtures, school night, various things. And you're still seeing them pretty much full up, and you're thinking, yeah, this is good. Now, it is one of those feelings where you're watching the score updates fly in from somewhere else going, this Cork game appears to be, the Shamrock Rovers Cork game appears to be quite good. Someone's just scored from the halfway line. Yeah. Shamrock Rovers conceded 4 at home to Cork. I wish I would be there, because at that point Bowes were in control-ish, and the game was probably over. But I have no regrets, Joe.
The school night point is well made. I did say Nathan Murphy on Instagram say that he would have to be lying to his children about the match he had just attended the next morning. No, you missed nothing. Yeah. You missed nothing. Terrible game. Terrible game. Don't go on the internet for the day.
Yeah, and Tala, the Rovers, there would have been a pretty big drop off with the Rovers crowd from Friday, because they do have a very big family attendance there, and their attendance would have dropped. Whereas Bowes in the city, and maybe there is a family crowd at Bowes, but maybe a slightly different profile. They're able to sell out anyway.
Yes. So I mentioned Justin Campbell on the way. Very interesting man. Galway hurling fans, like I said, from the 90s will remember him. He played in the All-Ireland final against Kilkenny in 93. He won the Under-21 All-Ireland in 91 with Galway. And then away from the hurling pitch, his life far from straightforward. He was the youngest of 6, and he lost both his parents when he was young. He was 10 when his father passed away. And then 4 years later, his mother fell ill, both with cancer. Lost both his parents, naturally enough, had his own struggles with addiction and got himself sorted out in his mid-20s whilst playing for Galway, and then took his various qualifications later in life in the areas of counselling and psychotherapy, and now runs a private practice. So Justin Campbell is going to join us after 8 o'clock. 7:30. The Donegal situation has maybe crept up on people. I mean, in some respects, it's the sheer anger of former Donegal footballers on Twitter which has drawn attention to the situation. Eamon McGee, for instance, quote tweeted the Donegal County Board statement and said, "A few days on from the joke of a statement, I'm still so mad that our county board has decided to treat Carl Lacey like this. It's disgusting. Letting go of Lacey and the vision he had for our footballers will set us back so much. It's so disheartening to see." So what's happened here is that Carl Lacey, who needs no introduction, 4-time All-Star, All-Ireland winner, Footballer of the Year in 2012. He was appointed just over 2 years ago, January 21, as the head of academy development, and he has a master's in sports performance from the University of Limerick as well. He lectures in sports coaching. So he was overseeing the coaching of players under 14 to under 20. It seemed to be going very well. Last month he stepped down. He mentioned a lack of support in his statement, and then in a show of solidarity for Lacey, 40 other coaches resigned in support, and they released a statement saying they had lost all confidence in the governance of Donegal GAA, and they said of Lacey that they were extremely disappointed in how he was treated in his role. So it seems to be a bit of a mess, to say the least. Brendan Devaney is going to join us at 7:30 to explain all. Just before we start the Newsround, 2, I would say, Dan McDonnell related text messages.
Okay.
The first one may not be in your wheelhouse. The second one will, don't worry. Mickey Hart is doing a great job with Louth. Please comment. Thank you. Anonymous.
Well, he is doing a great job at Louth, but
why?
Obviously his presence,
But
his
specifically, though,
experience.
specifically, what would you say he's added?
Well, I'd say it's just the buzz of this new stadium facility that's coming has just lifted the place. Sheer force of personality.
It's important.
I mean, like, there is actually, he's been around the block. He's a proven winner.
Yeah.
Like he's come to the county. He's shown the medals. It's like sort of Mick O'Dwyer style tour of county. The counties later on in his sporting life, something like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Listen, this is why people tune in. That kind of specific detail.
Keep it between the lines.
Not to be found
Keep
elsewhere.
it between the lines. I mean, it's true.
What would Dan class as a good season for Cork City? Talk down here, start of the season, was that they'd be doing well to stay up. But is Europe realistic, wonders Mick and Cork? Give me a short-ish answer here.
I don't think Europe is realistic, no. But I don't think that would represent a bad season. I think a season for Cork where they were 6th, I think would be a top-class season for them. Like, you look at Shells come up last season, they were the equivalent team, and they finished 7th, and they got to a cup final, and that was regarded as an excellent year. If Cork, came 6th, like got to latter stages of the cup, I think it'd be a great year. Yeah, I mean, that club where it's been, and like huge potential fan base. The fact that they spent a couple of years in the first division is it's embarrassing for them, really. So they just need to solidify and get back on a. They had a takeover by a new owner in December. I think it was quite late in the day, and their squad probably they would be overachieving if they finished in the top half, considerably overachieving with the squad they have.
Okay, we'll talk more League of Ireland in the football show between 9 and 10. Frank and Galway, Justin Campbell, that name brings me back. We'll be tuning in after 8 o'clock. I think you'll be not quietly, very impressed, loudly impressed. Frank and Galway's a fascinating man. And then, I'm in two minds about reading this one out. In two minds. More in the privacy side of the spectrum, but we'll go there. David in Dunboyne. Joe, thanks for the advice today. He puts in brackets, i.e. carrying a new baby. I'm just after figuring out it was yourself. I'm only 7 weeks at it and I'm dispensing advice.
Oh my God, are you pontificating about this? Like, someone had bad technique and you sort of scolded them as they went past?
No, that's not true.
That is very unlike Joe.
That's not true. We were in, again, without going into all the details, we were in a waiting room.
Okay.
And so I was there, new arrival was there. I was doing an exceptional job of, holding the baby.
Parenting.
Parenting, yes.
Yeah.
And prospective parent was also there. And it was a pleasant, brief enough exchange. And David's just realised it was me now. I was wondering why I didn't ask for a selfie at the time.
Yeah, I was just thinking, you were like, oh, here we go. Can I not go anywhere?
Yeah.
What was your advice?
I don't think I need to give it out to the
Don't
radio.
drop it.
I mean, David and Dunboyne can take it or leave it, but there's enough
Did
information
you just
out there.
deliver it in sporting cliche style? You know,
Yeah,
just,
it's about presence, I said.
yeah, it's just a good start.
The Newsround is brought to you with Gillette Labs. Get the ultimate shave or your money back. Neon Night edition is available now, Dan. You'll be very happy to hear.
Ultimate shave, yeah.
So, Richie, we are starting with news from the Irish squad ahead of Sunday. A few familiar faces returning.
Yeah, and the fit again, Kieran Frawley has been included in a 37-man Ireland squad ahead of Sunday's Triple Crown showdown with Scotland. Frawley only made his first Leinster start in 4 months on Saturday. Ulster back row Nick Timoney is also recalled to the Ireland squad, but there's no room for Joey Carbery. Meanwhile, Scotland have added Glasgow quartet Simon Bergen, Scott Cummings, Rory Darge and Stafford McDowell to their squad for Sunday's match.
Stafford's an interesting surname.
First name.
Forename.
Yeah.
Stafford.
Do you know any Staffords?
No, I know Stafford surnames.
Sort of feels like an American. There should be an American golfer.
Stafford McDowell.
There should definitely could be.
He definitely sounds like an American golfer.
There's a Hudson Swafford, isn't there? And there's a couple of.
Yeah.
You know, that's definitely the type of name you would expect.
Yeah. I have to say, your contributions here tonight.
It's been cutting edge stuff. Well, I mean,
Really good.
As good as your baby holding advice.
I was responding to a fan.
Who just happened to tune in at 7 o'clock and realise it was you.
Listen.
What a mistake. Yeah, listen, if you want any more general sports observations,
No, it's
I'm
really
here
good.
for you. It's Six Nations at the weekend, up for the game.
So you heard that, folks. There was a Hudson Swafford on the PGA Tour. Chelsea then, they're in action this evening against Dortmund.
Hashtag friend of the Sprog, get it trending. Chelsea needs to arrest Borussia Dortmund's 11-game winning streak if they're to reach the Champions League quarter-finals tonight. Graham Potter's side trail by a 1-0 ahead of tonight's last 16 second leg at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea have switched from a back four to a back three tonight between the two legs. So Kepa Arrizabalaga starts in goals. Back three then of Wesley Fofana, Kalidou Koulibaly and Mark Cucurella. From right to left across midfield, it's Reece James, Enzo Fernandez, Mateo Kovacic and Ben Chilwell. Raheem Sterling and Joao Felix are in support of Kai Havertz up front. Dortmund have gone for a change of goalkeeper through injury, so Alexander Meyer starts between the posts. Marius Wolf, Niklas Sula, Nico Schlotterbeck and Rafael Guerrero are their back four. In midfield, it's Emre Can, Jude Bellingham and Saleh Özcan. Julian Brandt starts on the right, Marco Reus on the left in place of the suspended Adeyemi, who scored in the first leg, of course, and Sebastian Aller leads the line for them. Things will be far more straightforward, you'd think, for Benfica, who hold a 2-0 first leg lead over Scott Parker's club Brugge. They meet in Lisbon. Both games kick off at 8.
Pat Nevin, in his usual way, forecasted this. He said Graham Potter will be switching to a back three sooner rather than. And now here we are, less than a week after Pat said it to us. I suppose, to be fair, Chelsea have had their fair share of success with Reece James and Ben Chilwell as roving wing backs, but I guess it's a big night to spring it. Champions League, this will be season defining in some respects for them. So it's Fofana, Koulibaly and then Cucurella as one of the centre backs. Maybe he'll get licensed to go forward as well, who knows. Chilwell and Reece James, Kovacic, Enzo Fernandez midfield, and then Sterling, Joao Felix, Kai Havertz in some kind of combination up top. So we'll be watching that game very closely. Graham Potter over the weekend, as they had a very boring, nondescript 1-0 win. Spurs blew up, Arsenal did their thing, and then all hell broke loose at Anfield. I would say Graham Potter thought to himself, great, no bored columnists this week are going to be writing about my body language or some nonsense like that.
You just need a couple more weekends like that to just get yourself out of the headlines, because it does seem like it's been like in some places, like it's like Chelsea are aggressively briefing, this is absolutely fine, we're keeping with Graham Potter no matter what, and yet there's just been that slight slippage in the last week or two where maybe that doesn't seem to be as vehement in places, or maybe it's just because it's Chelsea, everyone's just almost not invested in the story because they know how it ends, even though it's a different ownership. It just feels like, well, we know what's going to happen there, and that almost makes you less invested in it, because it's just sort of like that's what Chelsea do. We've spoken about the Chelsea journey of their managers before and how you find it hard to buy into them because they're all so short. I don't know where you are in the Potter one. Are you
curious.
stirred by it?
I'm curious because they're promising this is a new way of doing things, that Potter is a long-term project building type, and I just look forward to them reneging on that in spectacular fashion and sacking him at some stage.
Would he have?
I do hope he does very well, Potter.
Would he have gotten a better shake at it than Lampard if he was turfed out? Now the answer would be no, right? Because Lampard had the transfer embargo year, so he had a long period of time.
No, he's barely in the job.
But Potter and me is just, and again, maybe it's just because I like his story. I think like he's an English coach who went to Sweden and went about things in an interesting way.
Yeah.
So it would be typical if he got into a good job, just gets turfed out like really quickly.
In very difficult circumstances. He's not doing a good job, we should say. It's not going well, but that was a chaotic summer.
But how can the players even be like invested in him when like the way in which they've signed players would suggest like, where's the input coming from? And like you got these crazy deals with players for whatever reason on like 8-year contracts and just creating a weird vibe around the club that sort of feels like everyone's set up to fail with it.
Yeah, we'll be keeping a close eye all evening. Sean and Tralee, you've obviously whetted the appetite out there, Dan. Could we get Dan's take on Dublin's forwards play under Desi Farrell, he wonders?
Well, I have to say, I was at Dublin, Clare and Croke Park the weekend before last, where they had
I stop you there.
Yeah.
Was it a free corporate ticket?
I'd say.
Any pause, Dan? Don't
You're
pause.
a disgrace.
I'll just say refreshments were consumed during the exercise.
This is what you're dealing with.
I wasn't
folks.
out with the grassroots. Like I wasn't quite out with the.
Did you watch any of the
people.
match?
I did watch the match. Yeah, Dublin with a spirited comeback.
Okay.
I think they woke up halfway through and realised they were losing to Clare. That's what the people said to me. And me, sort of the other stuff said. So I know they were playing Derry at the weekend. I do follow this stuff, Joe.
Yeah.
I just don't have any. Like sometimes you just got to stay in your lane and not just feel like you have to offer an opinion on it. Just
That's fine. It's refreshing.
Fit in. Like
Yeah.
we talking about Cheltenham for an hour if you wanted, but don't see that coming up in the news round.
It's unlikely at the moment.
Yeah.
Hi guys, I just wanted to let you know I've ended my media blackout. I've banished all memories of Sunday and the number 7. It's great to be back listening, says Bobby in Castle Connell. Bobby, I've got some great stuff for you on the football show. Some great stuff. There's a behind the scenes article on what Eric Ten Hag did on Monday morning.
God, yeah.
Oh, yes.
I wouldn't be mad on that, actually. I wouldn't be mad on the briefing of that and where that's coming from.
That's great stuff. The leaks are back. Everything about Man United that was fun for the last few years is back. And then Wout Weghorst has had to take to social media. Have you seen this?
I saw his post, but I
apologise because Wout Weghorst, beloved Manchester United player, as he was leaving the tunnel, gave the old "This is Anfield" sign a good pat of respect. And he's been torn apart, and so he's trying to reassure the wonderful, his words, Manchester United fans that no disrespect was intended.
Oh, so sorry, the inference is that he was sort of...
Well, it's a sign of deference. There's the "This is Anfield" sign.
He was just happy to be there.
A pat,
He's also very tall. Like
I'm
you
in
might
awe
just,
of the place.
he just, probably just has to pat things as they go past him.
His explanation seems to be along the lines of it was a degree of banter with Virgil van Dijk, my national team colleague, as in I was getting there first. As if somehow Virgil van Dijk couldn't touch the sign if I
really
touched it. No, they're grown men, I hear you, but that's where we are. There's equally grown men giving out to him.
Oh no, there's the grown men giving out I would have the issue with.
Would you?
Oh yeah, I mean,
right.
like he feels the need to explain it, but he's, sorry, like
He has touched a bit of plastic.
Yeah, it's just like...
Says "This is Anfield" though.
He has touched a bit of plastic. Like it's just a perverse outcry at nothing.
There has been lots of what would Roy make of this?
Who cares?
Well, indeed.
Like, I mean, maybe it was just an instinctive thing that he did, not realising that his entire life is like on camera.
No, he's defined by it now.
Yeah, it's just what a way to be remembered.
Look, I appreciate we are into day 3 of
tall man
picking.
tap sign.
We're into day 3 of picking at this game, but that's where we are.
Like I say this as a tall person. Like, and I'm not excusing Wout Weghorst or suggesting that he did this in any way. The amount of door frames that I have to go through when my hand goes up first and then the head goes under, like he's taller than me, so there might well be something in that. He's just making sure that he's got clearance.
Imagine Richie just tapping signposts around Dublin as he just walks past them.
It's any doorway, Dan.
Just have to tap.
You don't want to see this. You don't want to see the scars on the top of my scalp. Like it's a war zone up there.
That's not good. How tall are you?
6'5".
Are you 6'5"?
Really?
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's good height.
Deceptive.
It's a good height. Thanks, Joe. I feel validated now.
No worries. So we'll push on. Where are we going next?
Leanne Kiernan's hopes of making the Republic of Ireland World Cup squad are ebbing away. Her Liverpool manager Matt Beard has revealed that the forward is still 10 weeks away from a full return to fitness. Kiernan is unlikely to return to action until May, leaving her scant time to prove her fitness to Vera Pauw. Staying on Merseyside, UEFA are to refund all Liverpool supporters who attended May's Champions League final in Paris. An independent review into the pre-game chaos outside the Stade de France laid the blame at UEFA and Paris police. Meanwhile, Liverpool's principal owner John W. Henry says Fenway Sports Group commitment to the club is stronger than ever following confusion about whether or not it was up for sale. The head of FSG says dealings in the transfer market will be informed by, quote, wise decisions. Speaking to the Liverpool Echo, Henry says there were simply formalising a way to find new investors last year and they will stick around, he says, for the long term.
Interesting UEFA move. I mean, there's a degree of please don't boo our Champions League anthem like that, please.
Well, I mean, that's going to happen. So the refunding, I'd imagine, is complicated. Like, I don't know, is that direct Liverpool allocation? Because you'd assume like quite a lot of tickets ended up going for above market value.
Do they refund the touts?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, you know, or like the paper trail for it like is probably complex enough. I know there would obviously be a certain amount going through the club, but I mean, a lot of people out there who may have paid X amount for their tickets are probably wondering who's getting refunded.
It's a big win for the touts if they bought these tickets and then obviously they were sold on the street for cash, and now the touts are also getting money back.
Market price back, yeah. It's a big result for them.
Yeah. Because I dare say not many Liverpool... Oh, there'd be a paper trail. I was going to say not many would have kept their tickets from a losing night. But if you've bought it electronically...
I know, you'll have it, like the way things with tickets are bought now. No, I'd imagine most of it will be fine, but there'll be definitely a couple of curious ones in there, you'd have thought.
Yeah. Somehow I don't think that will smooth over the booing of the anthem.
No, I really just don't think that's going to be the issue now.
Positive news on Aaron Bulger, Richie?
Yeah, he was discharged from hospital following a nasty collision at Tallaght Stadium last night. The Cork City midfielder was stretchered off towards the end of last night's 4-4 draw with Shamrock Rovers. The Leaside club have thanked all that tended to Bulger last night. It led to the injury time that allowed for Rovers' equaliser. The draw leaves Rovers second from bottom in the SSE Electricity Premier Division without a win from the first 4 games. Manager Stephen Bradley, though, says they have been missing the suspended Roberto Lopez.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I think if Pico's playing, especially tonight, we don't make them mistakes. But it's still not acceptable from our team, a team of this level and experience, to make them mistakes we made when we defended.
And we might just finish on McIlroy, Richie's at the Players this week, which is unofficially 5th major big tournament.
Yeah, and he says the presence of live golf has ultimately been beneficial to the PGA Tour. Ahead of this week's Players' Championship at Sawgrass, McIlroy helped present the proposed changes to the PGA Tour to its players today. There will be 8 designated events which will have no cuts and fields of no more than 80. There'll also be tweaks to the schedules of top players. And McIlroy was asked how the proposed changes went down at today's meeting.
I think when more information and data was presented to them, they... the people that maybe had reservations about it, I think came around, or at least were more informed on their opinions, right? And I think the tour executives did a really good job of basically just walking them through the slides that we saw in the board meeting last Tuesday. Obviously not to the same degree of detail. We were in that board meeting for almost 7 hours last Tuesday. So, obviously we're all here trying to get ready for one of the biggest tournaments of the year. So with that time crunch, we just sort of they took the sort of most important slides and showed them to the membership. And I think it was good for them to see that and to see what the thinking is behind what we're really trying to do here, and I think the temperature in the room was nowhere near as hot as I anticipated it to be once the information was sort of laid out.
So I mean, the PGA Tour is at a very interesting place. If this is all overly complicated and uninteresting to you out there, the short version is that, sort of in response to Live Golf, the PGA Tour is trying to beef up its offering to the fan. So there are now designated events, and these have the best players, and the best players are all this season obliged to turn up. So, for instance, the Arnold Palmer last week had an amazing field. Players always has a good field, but this year it's 12, next year it'll be 8 designated events. The big players have generally said we will be there, and so and that's not controversial in and of itself. That's just positive. The most recent move is that the top players have requested. I mean, they won't say they've requested it, but they have. So there'll be no cut at these events, which is like a kind of great golfing tradition, and was used to beat Liv over the head.
That's a major tradition, yeah.
And Liv, it's like they don't even have a cut. It's not real golf, and now suddenly these designated events, these elevated events, won't have a cut. But maybe more controversially, when McIlroy's talking about it, explaining it to the room there, the field. Your standard PGA Tour event will have 156 odd players plus change depending on invites or former champions. They're now going to dramatically reduce this down to maybe 70 to 80. And that will be like if you're top 50 the year before, if you're in the top 10 in the current year, or if you've like had a big win or two that season, you'll manage to sneak your way into that 80. So the rank and file PGA Tour member, who Rory was talking about there in the room, is now locked out of these hyper financially lucrative no cut, because that's guaranteed money for the top boys, events. And so what McIlroy and the top players are trying to do is sell it to them as, look, we promise you, if you play well, you will get into these bigger events and your life will be fine, and ultimately this will be good for all of us. But I think Liv has probably given the elite players a lot of leverage, and they're starting to use it. Yeah,
there's an element of pulling up the drawbridge about to some degree.
There is, yeah.
And I saw Eddie Pepperell, the European Tour player, make the point over the weekend, and it's true. Like isn't one of the big relationships between the European Tour and PGA Tour, like the top 10 get your card on the PGA Tour the next year, and this is part of the ones. Now, like for those guys, it's such a hard road to get into the good PGA Tour events. It's a couple of years,
designated events,
and it's going to be really difficult. And you kind of wonder, I don't know what's going to happen to golf in Europe, and we'll see with this case coming up soon. But are we going to end up like are more of those guys in that sort of second tier going to gravitate towards Liv if they'll take them? You know what I mean? Liv
doesn't have much more room, and like
no, that's true.
Before you feel too sorry for the guy who's somewhere between 80 and 150, 160 on the PGA Tour pecking order. I mean, if they win one of the undesignated events, they're getting $1 million plus healthy change, maybe $1.5 million. They're doing very, very well. They don't need your sympathy. And there probably is an argument that the real stars, the handful of the 10, 15 stars of the game, were being underpaid in comparison with other sports.
Would Seamus Power have got into the...
Yeah, he's in.
No, but would he have got into it on his good year, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, because if you play well enough during the year...
You would have, yeah.
You'll get in. Because the phrase they keep using is you want the hot players as well.
Yeah,
those in good form. But there's no doubt it's not as... The funnel is narrowed. And they're trying to sell that now to the tour at large. So that's what's going on. And McIlroy's very much chief spokesperson.
Sunday was great though, to be fair.
Yeah, look, these designated events are great for the fans. Maybe like the guy 150th on the tour didn't like it, but
Rory had a 7-hour board meeting on Tuesday to prepare for the week, and he's still there on Sunday, which is sort of crazy in its own way.
We got to go. We will have Dan with us across the evening. Richie, thank you very much.
Nice enough.
Cheers.